with Beard!
Hey, podcast kittens, it's Cathy Cat and...
Ladybeard coming at you with another remarkable installment of Cat with Beard! Well, I'm talking about Cat with Beard! Something else, come on down! Hey! I've got a guest in the building!
No!
Cathy Cat, introduce our guest today!
We have a wonderful guest with us today, and it's momentjoon. Come say hi!
Hi. Yeah, I cannot match your energy, really.
This poor guy, he was not expecting that at all. Yes, momentjoon is the name of our guest today.
Are we pronouncing your name right?
Yep, you're getting it right.
Good.
Yep.
Let's kick it. Momentjoon is a rapper, an artiste in the art form of rapping from South Korea, but now living in Japan. There's no R in Japan to
no,
roll.
there's no R.
Japan.
No, we don't want to do that.
It's going to end very badly for
We're not
me.
going to do that. No,
Very badly for me.
So you call yourself an immigrant rapper, is that correct?
Yep, I do call myself an immigrant rapper. Yep.
All right. So what is your path? Because currently you're in Japan. So where did it all start? How did we get here?
Well, I came to Japan in 2010 as an international student. I started studying at Osaka University.
Ooh, that's a good university.
Thank you. Well, I don't particularly agree, but yeah, I like to hear people.
Already.
Things have already gotten topical.
Yeah, I don't think it's good. Drop the mic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I started my life as an international student in Japan in 2010, and yada yada yada. Something happened, and I started rapping, and yeah, now I wouldn't call myself a full-time rapper because I'm still a PhD student at Osaka University. So yeah, I'm doing rap and academics too. Yeah.
Rap and academics.
Doing rapidemics. What I'm talking about.
Rapidemics.
Actually, my major is musicology, so actually, I think you can call it. Yeah.
Oh, obviously. Wow, you should call it.
Gosh, I feel
Yeah.
like I should look a little bit better for this. We have like a famous person.
Really?
Here, but, I should put on a little bit. There we go. I feel like, okay.
That was unexpected. Rapidemics is a great name. You should totally run with that. That's actually quite.
Rapidemics.
So you're a somewhat professional rapper and you're a PhD student academic. That is amazing.
And you've released 2 books, if this is correct. I hope I'm saying this right. Nihon Imi Nikki and Sandai Heiki Tobo Yume. That's 2 books.
Yep.
You're released this.
One is a book, and the other one is just a let's say a long form of novel that was published on one of the literature magazines. So it's not my book, but it was published. Yeah.
So you have.
But the other one is a
publications.
collection. Yeah. But the other one is a collection of my essays written in Japanese. Yep.
All right.
Japan
language
Immigration
skills, man.
Diary. Nah,
what?
not at all.
You-
Japan Immigration Diary. That's the title of the
see.
book. Yeah.
So, what made you start rapping?
What made me start rapping? Well, I don't know. Like I've been a avid hip hop fan ever since I was 10, I think. And as far as I can remember, like I've been rapping always in whatever language it was, and
Really?
whatever environment that I was in, I was always rapping in some form or another. So, but I wasn't like particularly, how do I say it? When I was a teenager, I wasn't brave enough to actually pursue that dream as a rapper, as a musician. So I just found myself just like drifting away and found myself in Japan. And yeah, and ever since I came here, just as I was doing before, I was just like, communicating what I felt, what I experienced in Japan in the form of music. And somehow it got, attraction from Japanese audience. And now I have a career. Yeah, that's all.
You said you rap in whichever languages. In how many languages can you rap? Because rapping in itself is very difficult. I am German, and therefore I am the opposite of rapping. I cannot rap at all. But in how many languages can you rap?
How many languages can I rap? I think I can only rap in one language, and that is rap. Yeah, because no, hear me out.
Dropping again.
Yeah, Mike dropped again.
Hear me out, because English is not my native tongue, obviously. So sometimes I drop lines in English, but I never feel confident about it. And Japanese is my third language, so I will never feel confident about it either. But so people ask me, so you must be very, comfortable with your Korean lyrics, right? But that's not exactly true because, you know, uh, so like Japanese language, as you know, it doesn't have a tradition when it comes to Japanese poems. It doesn't have a tradition of making rhymes, right? It's like haiku or tanka. They don't have that tradition. Yeah, but like let's say old Chinese poems or like Indo-European languages, they all have having rhymes in their poems. That's just a tradition. But Japanese language, I don't know why it is, but maybe it's just linguistic wise, grammar wise, they just don't have that. And many people don't know about this, but Korean language is actually very, very close to Japanese. Like almost 98, 99% of the grammar is same. So if you think about it, naturally Japanese language, when you just use Japanese language, you don't get to have a lot of rhymes except for nani nani shimasu, nani nani desu, right?
Good point.
Nani nani ni naru. Yeah, because at the end of the sentences, well, you don't have a lot of options, right? So in order to, so many Japanese rappers, when they started to import this hip hop culture from US, they had to think about like, wait, but like they got this cool thing called rhyme, but like in Japanese culture, in Japanese tradition, we don't have that thing. So what do? We change the word orders, like Yoda.
Like Yoda?
Yeah, like Yoda. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, exactly.
I was thinking to myself, Yota. Is that a Japanese word I don't know? Yota. You mean Yoda?
Yes. Yeah, Star Wars Yoda.
Grammar to match.
Yeah.
So it can rhyme.
Yeah. Usually in Japanese language, the noun never comes in the last, right? But by changing your word orders, you get to create rhymes. So it is not. So from my perspective, Japanese rap lyrics are very far from how people use Japanese day-to-day life. Same in Korean. So I started rapping in Korean, but then Korean artists or Korean rappers, they had the same problem. Like how are you gonna create rhymes? Like by changing word orders. But then by doing that, it becomes something different than just, how do I say it? Just regular Korean poem or regular Japanese poem. So I consider rap as its own language, at least to me, because it is not natural. It is not natural to have rhymes in Japanese or in Korean. So yeah, I rap and only rap. Yeah.
I can see how this man is an academic. Hey, that was fantastic.
You can feel the academic part of it coming through.
The clearest and the most articulate I have ever heard rap explained in my life. That was incredible.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Normally it says, "No man off the streets, the street language of the streets," and that's all you get.
Now, some of our listeners right now will probably hear of you for the first time. So could you maybe give us like a good example how you would rap? If that, I'm putting you on the spot here right now. I know this
how
is
I would rap.
Bust out.
Should I drop a verse here?
Drop a verse, baby. Let's go. Here we go.
Some bars.
Okay. All right, but it's in Japanese. So.
No worries. Let's go. Let's go. Here we go.
日本は今暴力の季節。でも誰かにとってはとっくの前からそうだったって言ったら君は驚いて気絶。放火された家、飛んでくる卵、人間だからあげる姫。なのにこう言われたらどう？自己責任。そう。自己責任、不条理と防ぎの代わりに回せ。自分自身を敵に。苦しいって言ったら弱虫。おかしいって言ったら無視。恐ろしいって言ったら君に VR ゴーグルをかけて君を黙らせる飼い主。AKA 株式会社日本の株主。奴らが作った日本で生きるってことは食われるが食うか通貨。悔しければ君も買えば仮想通貨。Huh? Like that?
That was sick. That was sick. Good job. That was great.
Yeah. That's like the most recent verse that I wrote. Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Oh, right. It
That's
feels
banging,
also
man.
very thought. Like you can really tell there's a lot of thought in your rap, a lot of criticism of society.
That's great.
And we're probably gonna have some subtitles on the YouTube version. We're gonna have some English subtitles on YouTube one. So what is like a common theme in your rap to explain it to the audience?
Common theme. The
What
only
is like
common,
yeah.
the only theme that I have in my music is just about me. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know that like many people, especially like Japanese media, wants to portray my artistry as something like, I don't know, like social commentary or something like that. But from my point of view, I only talk about myself, and like I talk about really silly, dumb stuffs too. So I only talk about myself. That's all I can say, I think. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. No,
That's
it's
a
Yeah.
good topic.
yeah, since like your title was immigrant rapper, I was wondering whether
Hmm.
that is like a big part of your rap or your
Well, overall, I think yes. But the reason why I call myself immigrant rapper is because mm, I feel like while I'm talking about myself, like many perspectives of me, like many sides of me, like I have this, like, I don't know, suicidal tendencies, I have this addiction problem, I have this, like a lot of, I am a multifaceted human being just like everybody else. But by calling myself immigrant rapper after I say those things, I feel like it's gonna let audience, especially Japanese people, to understand that, hey, like these people we call foreigners usually, and just like put them in a box. We do that shit a lot, but like by looking at me from the title of immigrant rapper, but then when they listen to my content, I actually talk about a lot of other stuff, not only social commentary, but a lot of my personal flaws and stuff like that. I think it's gonna lead people to understand the complexity as human beings that as we live here. Yeah.
it's also very self-reflective.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm kind of worried about you now. Do we need to call someone? Are you
No, 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 no. Japan made me think about those things. But overall, okay, yeah, yeah.
So you picked rapping back up in Japan. The passion was always there. You dropped it for a while, and Japan made you pick it back up.
Yeah.
What was your moment? What was your, you know what, I'm gonna rap about this. And sometimes we feel so strongly about something that we need an outlet. So
Mm.
was there some certain situation or moment that made you think, you know what, I've had it, I'm gonna rap about this?
Well, my entry point to Japan was a university. So life in university played a big part. And back then, I felt like because I was, fresh off the boat, and like I was feeling, like all jittery, and I needed some kind of like validation from people, especially from the people I met at the university. One of the most, I don't know, like popular songs that I put out back then was this song called I Love Handai. Handai is how you call Osaka University in Japanese.
Okay.
So
Oh,
it
right.
is about just like, the common experience that every Osaka University students go through. And it was a big hit, I should say.
Cool.
And I love the feeling of validation back then. But it was back then, like, and recently, or let's say starting from like 4 or 5 years ago, many things have changed. But now I don't live only inside. I don't live only inside the university. Like my life in Japan has, I don't know, like it's spread across many boundaries, many little societies and stuff like that. So I don't particularly need that validation, but I just need to exist as a human, and I need to talk about myself, and I want it to be understood. So yeah, and sometimes it's not, well, my songs, they don't lead to like validation. Sometimes it leads to confrontation, but that's what I do. Yeah.
From validation to confrontation. It's already rhyming.
It's already a
Oh,
rhyme.
wow. I'm gonna use that. Validation to confrontation.
And you've been in Osaka University ever since you got to Japan then, yeah?
Yep, exactly.
Did
Yeah.
you
For over
arrive
10
here?
years now?
What?
Because 2010 was when you came, right?
Yeah, I started as an undergraduate. Yeah,
So you've been at
student.
the university for about 12
12
years now?
years.
Yeah, minus 2 years of military service in Korea. So
I had to
yeah,
do
give or
military
take
service.
10
you
years.
had
Yeah.
to do military service. That's a
Awesome.
mandatory, right?
So you're a
Yeah.
Taekwondo black belt, yeah?
No, I never got there. Just one belt below the black belt.
Oh, okay, you're red, sweet. Now, did you arrive in Japan already able to speak Japanese?
Yeah, fairly, because my high school was it was a little bit special. It was called foreign language high school. So
Oh,
their
okay.
main goal was to educate this foreign language
Cool.
students. But I should say, like back then, not a lot of people gave a crap about the language that they majored in. except for Chinese, because everybody knew that that's going to be lucrative.
Yeah, right.
Other languages, they didn't care about it.
Really? Wow. Hang
Yeah.
on, this is your high school in Korea, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
You-
No, I care which language you majored in.
Just curious because you came here to the university, then you had to go home for 2 years and do military
Yeah.
service, right?
Yeah.
And then you came back. How has that influenced your rapping or your career?
My rapping, well, first of all, it affected me a lot just as a human being. It's like isolation, and I had a lot of like very tough experiences, like physically and mentally at the army. But the hardest part was coming back to Japan, and now nobody that used to hang with me, nobody understand what I actually went through because they don't have the reference points because Japan doesn't have it, right?
Yeah, there's no mandatory military here in Japan. Yeah.
So after that, I felt like my raps slowly started to change that it is impossible to get the validation, by repeating what I used to do, before I went to the military. So yeah, and also just in terms of like my Japanese language skill, I felt like before I went to the military, I actually spoke quite well. But 2 years of not using Japanese, actually, it got crappy. It got really crappy. And yeah, it affected me a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure it's better than mine. Sure, your Japanese on its worst day is better than mine on my best day by a
But that's because
large
I'm a
margin.
Korean speaker. Yeah. Like I said, it's very close. It's very close. Like to certain point, it's almost like you just change the words one to one. Just very easy to Koreans at least. Yeah.
I see.
Can I ask who inspired you? Who were your rapper idols?
Who were my rapper idols? Well, so I was always this kind of like a renegade kid. So back when I was like back when I was in Korea, like everybody else in the class, like they started to listen to rap, and they listened to Eminem a lot. But I was like,
Of course.
Like-
Easily accessible.
Eminem,
Yeah.
I intentionally avoid whatever the majority of people like. So I was like searching for some alternative.
Like
Underground
a rapper
rap.
hipster.
Yep, cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, okay.
Yeah. So Jay-Z has been my rap idol for a very long time. And Kanye West, and recently for the past decade, I think Kendrick Lamar. I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't hear any Japanese rapper names in there.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Yeah. Because well, when you actually get in this industry, like if you asked me the same question 8 years ago, I might have answered some Japanese rappers' names. But like when you get into the industry, you get to see, them as people, as persons. So like I get disappointed a lot by actually interacting with them and stuff like that. And mostly because I cannot just worship them anymore because now I'm their competitor. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah.
Can I ask
Oh.
how you're disappointed? You're disappointed with their personalities, or backstage their dicks to you, or how
Not at all. They're always very kind. It's just I felt like I still believe in that, but I always said that hip hop will change Japan. And the reason why I could say that is because of the Japanese rapper that I looked up to. But when I actually talked to them, or when I actually got a chance to interact with them, sometimes it made me feel like that was just a facade, that their zeal to actually change Japan was maybe it wasn't there. So unfortunately, yeah. But you can say the same thing about me. Like I'm quite sure that many of my fans who actually meet me in person would be like you're different from what I expected. Like, I was like, I'm a person too. So, yeah.
Cathy
I
Cat,
mean,
have you ever been a rap fan?
I mean, I'm like I said, Germany's we don't really have a rap culture.
You have a big rap
Now
scene
we-
in Germany.
I don't know. Now apparently we do have one, but yeah, we actually I'm not sure if that's it, that the term immigrant rapper might also work. I think the better rappers are actually not the Germans. I'm so sorry, my German companions. Maybe there's some cooler rappers in Germany out there right now, but when I was listening, when I was still living in Germany, our rap was very much in the infant shoes. It was kind of cute rap. Now there seems to be some serious rap, people talking about the streets and the German, the darker areas of Germany. Now, darker areas, I'm not quite sure. You're coming though from an elite standpoint, right? You're coming from a university educated rapping standpoint. So that might be some of the criticism you're getting. What kind of criticism do
Yeah,
you
just
receive?
quickly, not the common direction from which a rapper would emerge.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree to that. But at the same time, because I don't live my life in Japan is not quote unquote elite. I can tell you that because, many of my former friends my classmates back at the, undergraduate days, yeah, they chose that life of living a comfortable life in Japan. But because of my life choices, I never walked that path. And I could tell you that in order to support myself, just to stay in Japan, I did a whole lot of stuff. I went through a whole lot of stuff. So yeah, I'm not from the streets. I will never say that. But I can also tell you that my life experience in Japan is not in the bubble of university, not at all. Especially if, after I came back from the military service, not at all. Yeah.
Yeah, the military service sounds really rough. I mean, we used to have mandatory military service in Germany. They stopped doing that a couple of years back. And guys just of a certain age would have to go. And it's still very, very much enforced in South Korea, right? So you
Yeah.
have to go.
Can you tell us a bit about your army experience? Did you hate it or did you love it or how was it?
Well, it was an experience.
Okay.
It was an experience. Well, physically it was very challenging.
Of course.
More than that, mentally it was very challenging. And because South Korea is still, I mean, technically it's still in the war, right? The war never.
Of course it is. You're
the,
right.
That's
The
why
Korean War never ended.
it's
So
mandatory, so.
yeah,
Oh,
the tension is still there. And the time there is, clash, like very small size of like clash between North and South. So I cannot say that, South Korean army is devoid of real violence, because it is there. But more than that, it's just isolation from the society. It's a very big thing, and because of that, we get to see a lot of like dark sides of human beings. Yeah,
As
and
in your fellow guys who are in the army with you?
exactly.
Really? Just
Yeah.
isolation. You're not allowed to have contact with the outside world?
Nowadays, I heard that it changed a lot. Nowadays, they are allowed to carry smartphones and stuff like that.
Right.
But
You
even
weren't
to this
allowed to
day,
carry a cell phone.
back then, yeah, back then I couldn't. Yeah, but more than that, it's just like, yeah, the feeling of like wearing uniforms and, how do I say this, like just to live close by the weapons. Yeah, like
Follow
you
orders,
yeah,
discipline.
follow orders. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it isolates you, even though you have means to communicate with outside world.
Wow. Okay.
So that has changed your rapping direction. It's, I guess, in a way, even in a negative way, but it still has enriched you, right? Even though it was a probably very uncomfortable experience. What I've heard from the German military is also not really comfortable, but I think yours sounds a bit stricter. I'm so sorry. This might go a little bit off topic, or not. Maybe staying with the military and you guys still being in war. Coming from a Germany that was split.
Mhm.
Coming from a Germany that was split and now is one Germany, how has that, going to the military, being originally from South Korea, now living in Japan, how has that, living in a country that is split into two, how has that influenced you or shaped you?
It's very complex because, well, you can say that the division of North and South in Korea, Japan is also partially responsible, because the only reason why North Korea and South Korea got divided is because they got occupied by Soviet Union and America, right? And the reason why they got occupied is because Korea was a Japanese colony, right? Just like, Soviet Union and the Allied forces occupied Germany. So, well, and originally my grandfather, he's from North Korea. Yeah, so my family, I mean, it's every South Korean family has one or two family members that are originally from, North Korea, because it used to be a one country. So yeah, it was very surreal, because like across the line, that there are a group of people who share your ancestry, share your culture and stuff like that. But then yeah, you are technically in war, and we know when you cannot trust them just because they cannot trust you. So it is heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking. But at the same time, go ahead.
Sorry, please continue. I'm sorry.
But at the same time, like it kind of made me feel like it helped me to understand a lot of pains that people from other parts of the world share. Like, just like, Germans, I'm quite sure that just like you asked me right now, you get to understand or empathize with my experience because your mother country went through same thing, right? Just like that, like, when I talk to Vietnamese people, because their country was also divided, I get to share the experience. When I talk to people from India, I get to, because the partition of Pakistan and India was such a big, horrifying experience for them. I can also empathize, I can also share my experience with them, stuff like that. So I think it made me a more understanding person when it comes to understanding other people's pain. Yeah.
And that influences your rapping career, I'm sure. So
I hope so.
and that's what it's like. It's interesting. You're like a very educated rapper, but it's also you do go into depth. You ask people those painful questions as well. You're not shying away from that.
Yeah, I gotta say, you are the best spoken and best educated rapper I've ever interacted with in my life. How are we doing for time on this podcast episode? How many minutes remain? How many minutes we got? 5. Okay, cool.
Minutes.
Got some
Okay.
time left.
Albums, podcasts, or any kind of things you got out there on the market, Spotify, whatever. What is your main medium right now? Where's your audience?
My audience is well, mainly obviously it's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. Yeah, you can listen to my music searching the name momentjoon. Yeah, and I got my album out like 2 years ago called Passport and Garçon. Yeah. Please listen to it. Please heavy rotated, please, for me. Yeah.
Let me
But
ask you
go ahead.
play shows all over Japan, yeah? Like you tour around Japan?
Sorry, what was that?
You play shows all over Japan, yeah? Like you tour around Japan?
Yeah, Hokkaido, Kyushu, Tokyo, Osaka. Yeah.
So Osaka, Kansai in general, being the unique bit of Japan that it is, a unique bit within a unique country. How do you see a difference in the feeling of the fans and the other rappers and so forth when you go outside Osaka and outside Kansai?
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like Osaka is, how do I say this? It's like a different world cut off from the rest of Japan. There's a Kansai area. Kansai. Yeah, people are more straightforward. Like many people ask me, I mean, I'm quite sure that you got to ask this question tons of times too. Like, hey, like what was the culture shock you experienced when you came to Japan the first time? But from my point of view, Osaka people are not that different from Korean people. Not at all. Straightforward, easy to hang around with, like very expressive and stuff like that. But when first time I went to Tokyo, I felt culture shock. Like this is different from Osaka.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, for listeners who don't know what this is, Kansai is the bit of Japan kind of right in the middle of the country, and it's sort of like its own little thing there. It's sort of similar to New Orleans in that like Osaka was this party town traditionally, where it was like it was the bit of the country everyone went to for the partying and whatnot. So people in the Kansai region behave very differently from people in the rest of the country. They tend to be more hilarious, more chilled out, more social, and yeah, they're fun living characters down there. It's a great time.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. Should we wrap this bad boy up and continue this in the next episode?
Yes. So, momentjoon, please plug all your stuff. Where can we find you? What's your homepage, your social media? Tell us.
Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, momentjoon, please, and listen to my album Passport and Garçon on Apple Music, Spotify, or whatever platform you can get your hand on. Yep.
Excellent.
Awesome. Fantastic. Ladybeard?
Hey, go to the internet, put in Ladybeard _Japan and also my group Babybeard _Japan. I keep saying press like, click, follow, all those things, Cathy Cat.
And Cathy Cat is Cathy Cat _TV. You find me on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and a lot of different YouTube channels. I kind of got my hand in a lot of pies of the YouTube pies. And I'm also on NHK World with a program called Japan Railway Journey. and also if you have time, that'd be great. But most of all, please watch this video to the end. If you're on the YouTubes, thank you for coming all the way here. Thank you for ranking our podcast the highest star. You are stars. Leave us a comment, a like, and all the wonderful things. And if you have some extra time, you can also send us an email at
Nippon@joqr.net. Thank you, friends and pets, for tuning in. We'll see you. We'll have our Moment June back again on our next episode. For tune in for more of that. She is Cathy Cat. I am Ladybeard. He is Moment June. Thank you for watching Cat with Beard.
See you in the next episode.